Black athletes are being asked to not play in states where voting rights are being attacked. Here it is.
No one black should be on a playing field of institutions that's living off of our labor, and yet in states that are seeking to reinstitute a sharecropping reality. NAACP this morning, in solidarity with the CBC, we are calling on athletes who are coming out of high school not to attend any state-funded schools of states that have moved to minimize our right to vote, to minimize our ability to elect candidates of our choice, and states that are seeking to create a sharecropping reality.
That's right. Now, here's why.
Black athletes should boycott the SEC. I saw this online, so I felt I had to amplify it. Why? Because you do not get to scream Roll Tide on Saturday and then roll over black communities on Monday. No, you do not get to spend the weekend worshiping black athletes, then spend the work week helping Republicans redraw black people out of power like democracy is arts and crafts for segregationists. You cannot chant, bark, roar, and war eagle your way through the weekend, then come back on Monday with voter suppression pencils and act like nobody notices. Now let's talk money, because that is the part they understand. The SEC distributed more than $1 billion to member schools in 1 year. That is $72.4 million per school. SEC athletic departments generated about $2.6 billion in revenue. SEC football averaged 5.2 million viewers per game last season. Entire towns eat off this machine. Alabama football alone was tied to $138 million in visitor spending in Tuscaloosa. Hotels eat, bars eat, restaurants eat, parking lots eat, politicians smile in school colors and call it tradition. That is the contradiction. They love black speed, black strength, black touchdowns, black dunks, black relay teams, black bodies making white schools rich. But black voting power, black representation, black districts that stay intact, suddenly they get allergic to democracy. Man, forget all that. Those kids can get that money to an HBCU. They love us in uniform. They just do not love us with leverage.
And it's time. It is time. Colleges are corporations. Colleges are companies. Okay? They have a board. They have interest. Typically, the highest paid faculty member at a state institution, state university, is the football coach, because of the revenue that the institution makes due to who? Well, the players in the football program. This is a serious request. Obviously, parents have to be involved in this because we are heavily involved in where our children go to college and how they perceive what college really means. Also, in order for this to work, HBCUs have to step up. It's required. But this is not something that HBCUs have not had to do in the past. The reason why HBCUs exist is because white institutions did not want to respect the black scholar who attended. Okay? While there are many who are calling for black athletes to boycott playing in SEC schools, there is some skeptic sentiment. Jamel Hill is skeptical of sports. Black fans helping the effort. Here it is.
As it relates to black athletes, here is my concern that I have brought up in the last few days as we've had this conversation about what is the role of the black athlete in this moment. What are we prepared to do? I mean, the non-athletes, the people who don't have opportunities to go to SEC schools. And this was evidence in 2016 with Colin Kaepernick, is that we're not great at standing and inconveniencing ourselves. We want everybody else to do it. We want to put the responsibility on these athletes to say no to an SEC school. That doesn't mean that they can't go to, say, USC or UCLA. They could go to other options. Yes, I understand that in the eyes of many people, this is just a small sacrifice. Well, what's your sacrifice? Because my problem is, I know what will happen is you'll tell these athletes, stop going to these SEC schools, and every Saturday y'all be watching Tennessee, and y'all be watching Georgia, and y'all will be watching LSU, and y'all will be watching all the teams that you love because you can't give up your team, right? They did it with Colin.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
They're not there yet.
I completely disagree. And the reason I disagree is because every movement starts with conscious intent. Conscious intent. Whatever movement, before their movement started, every movement, somebody said it can't be done. But every single movement, a group of people said that's impossible. But every movement, someone pointed out the problems with the movement. If King would have listened to the Black, good-hearted Black folk who told him he could not do this in the South, we would not have King as a national leader. If Rosa Parks would have listened to members of her personal circle who said, Rosa, you're not a civil rights leader. This isn't what you want to do. Just tell them your feet were tired that day. We would not have the Montgomery bus boycott started on the campus of Alabama State University. So while I respect it, I simply don't believe it because I've seen Black people be magical too many damn times. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
Yeah, if anybody can do this, we can do this, Doc. And I want to take a highlight of what Jamel, what she's saying, there is some truth to it. In that, I love her calling the question, what will the rest of us do? Right. That's the part of it, that's but relevant. Not the part saying it shouldn't be done. I read comments, you asking these athletes to make this kind of sacrifice. Yeah, we are. We're asking the athletes and we're asking their parents. And to Janelle's point, then we got to back their play. So it can't just be about them. Like I'm tired. We need some Muhammad Ali type energy here.
That's right.
And there were other Black athletes, but we can count them on one hand, maybe two hands, that were willing to have discipline and make sacrifice. And what we are missing today is discipline and sacrifice. We make these leagues, we make these teams. So whether it's the NFL, the NBA, all of them, when we enter, where we enter, baby, magic happens all the time. As you said, that we can absolutely do this. I applaud the National NAACP for getting this started. Marcus Farrell, that video is from Marcus. Marcus did that thing. I'm gonna call Marcus after the show, Doc, and tell him I am so proud of that video that we played, how he laid that out. And then Doc, taking this a step further, I think the HBCUs, as you laid out, the HBCUs need to form a PACT, P-A-C-T. And we don't need them all, but we need them most. We should get them all, because I think it's about 109 or so historically Black colleges, both private and public. No more excuses. This is the time. And they should offer packages to these athletes and their parents that if you do this, we got you all the way through. And then we do our own thing. Because, baby, you best believe, just like the Montgomery bus boycott, those people didn't cave because it was morally right. They caved because of the dollar bills, y'all. And what Black people have, they don't respect our politics. Obviously, that's very clear. But, baby, we got money power. So we combine that with what Jamel is saying, which is what are the rest of us going to do? Make sure the rest of us are engaged in action and supporting every athlete in their family. These HBCUs come together and put aside who's the president where and say, we going to come together on this and we sure up them babies. And then, Doc, we need to go get Colin, because Jamil is right about that. Black people left that man out there by himself. Colin needs to help lead, help these young people, encourage their courage. And then I want to see some of these NBA and NFL Black folks stand up. They got what people call FU money. They got it right now. And if the Black athletes in the NFL and the NBA decided we ain't rolling like this, they would shut down the entire, and I know they got contracts, but maybe they got lawyers. We got lawyers. We can fight this thing. But I'm telling you, Doc, this is called all hands on deck on this. Everybody has a role to play. We just got to figure out what the role is. Nobody can be on the sideline. There's no action too little or too small. But Doc, we can move mountains on this.
That's right. That's right. I'm reminded of how Harry Belafonte supported the movement by way of funding it. I'm reminded of how Hosea Williams would go to would go to a city prior to Dr. King and be the bad cop. Then Dr. King would come in and say, well, let's negotiate. And the individuals not realizing they together the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so there's strategy and creativity, and that's where our power has always been, in our strategy and creativity. We just have to know we can.
We can, Doc. And one more thing, and I know this is worth talking about. Even Brother Danny Glover, who I had the chance to really get to know in the Sanders campaign. And even in talking to him, Doc, finding out why he didn't get a lot of major roles. I mean, I know we all know him as the lethal weapon.
Right.
But it's because he stood up. He stood up for what was happening in Haiti. He's pro-peace, anti-war. He put his career, his body on the line for what is just right and good. If individuals can do that, as you just gave some example, there are many. Imagine what we could do collectively. We just have to have the discipline and the courage. And then we just got to be about our Father's business. And our father's or our mother's business is that of justice.
Thank you for reminding me of Danny Glover. I was actually a doctoral student at Clark Atlanta University when they gave him a humanitarian award. And I got to meet him. I didn't know about his international or global humanitarian efforts until that day. And just as humble and approachable, but a man who fought from heart rather than from his brain only. He fought with his heart.
Yeah, absolutely.